In her first in-depth television interview, the whistleblower in the church abuse scandal says Archbishop John Nienstedt must step down.
Jennifer Hasselberger says not only should he go, but all the top leadership of the Twin Cities Archdiocese should resign as well. Hasselberger is the Archbishop's former top legal advisor. She says yesterday's announcement of new policies to protect children is a significant victory. However, she believes new leadership is needed to implement them. Last year, Hasselberger resigned from the Archdiocese and went public with her concerns that the church covered up and mishandled abuse allegations. Esme Murphy had a chance to sit down and speak with Hasselberger today. Is it fair to say she doesn't think the Archdiocese has gone far enough on this?
I think it's absolutely fair, Frank. Jennifer Hasselberger says she is not on a mission to destroy the Archdiocese, but to try and help save it. Her efforts, along with a change in a state law allowing old abuse claims to be heard in court, are widely credited for the reforms announced earlier this week.
But I started this because what I wanted to see was the church to be a safe place for children and vulnerable adults.
Do you think people are not safe unless this happens, unless Archbishop Nienstedt is replaced?
I think, just looking at my second point, which is that there's still priests that need to be removed from ministry, I think that raises a lot of questions.
Jennifer Hasselberger was at yesterday's announcement where church leaders and victims together announced a set of 17 protocols to keep kids safe.
But this is a day of hope, and it's a day of promise.
I mean, you had a number of victims buying into what was being said. You had Jeff Anderson, who's brought countless lawsuits, buying into it. And it sounds like you aren't.
Well, I'm definitely buying into certain provisions of it. But again, I think there's 4 things that need to happen. We need to see a change of leadership.
In addition to the leadership change and removing more priests, Hasselberger writes in her blog that she wants the church to make public its investigation into allegations that Archbishop Nienstedt had inappropriate relationships with adult seminarians. And Hasselberger wants to know what the Archdiocese is doing to help the victims of Father Curtis Waymeyer. He was convicted of abusing 2 St. Paul boys in 2012.
That for me was really a life-changing moment.
She says it was the church's handling of the Waymeyer case and her discovery of old documents about Father James Porter, who went to prison for molesting 28 children in the early 90s, that made her go public.
Here I was holding, this information that just showed for all these years. We had been lying and concealing and putting people at risk, and it wasn't changing. And if I didn't do something, it wasn't going to change.
Now, we reached out to the Archdiocese and have not yet heard back. In the past, Archbishop Nienstedt has said he will not be stepping down. Archbishop Nienstedt has denied having any inappropriate relationships with seminarians. Frank.
Any part of what Hasselberger saw yesterday in this joint agreement that she does think is helpful or approves of?
Well, yes, overall she claims that she says it is a victory. She says she thinks what was announced represents a strong improvement in how abuse claims are investigated, and she also thinks it represents a significant improvement on how victims themselves are treated.
All right. Thanks, Esme.